I've been thinking a lot about the Total War series lately, and it has only just occurred to me the hidden story arc that the devs created with the earlier games. That arc is one that begins all the way back in the year 2001 with Shogun 1 Total War. Shogun 1 was one of the first games to take advantage of 3D landscapes as seen with the battles. It was a push for PCs at the time, but overall it ran okay. This place and period were chosen as literally anyone could have won. From north to south, every faction historically was a contender, and so it seemed only logical. This mentality continued into Medieval 1 Total War, as, for the most part, factions are roughly the same size and very balanced. These were the two opener games that got them started, and the theme is one that lasted with them throughout most titles. However, the true story actually begins with Rome Total War. Whilst playing Rome Total War, you have one simple goal: be Rome. Build the largest empire you can as any faction. Simple. The player gets familiar with the games and the faction, and then we have Alexander Total War, a prequel, where you relive Alexander's journey and build yet another great empire, and then that is when you go back to Rome. And ask yourself, where did it go? The empire you spent so long building in Alexander Total War, by Rome, it hits you that it has collapsed, all gone, that once mighty empire that you built has broken down into the Diadochi. Then CA released Barbarian Invasion, the sequel, where you are suddenly presented with your great empire under threat, a threat that in Rome you thought would be impossible. But then, the work you put into Barbarian Invasion does not matter at all, as by Medieval 2, the next in the series and historically, it has, yet again, fallen. In Medieval 2, all your work is lost, and yet again, you have been divided. Kingdoms sets you up for the upcoming game. The Britain campaign prepares the player for the rise of Britain as a faction. The Americas introduces the player to colonialism and the rise of the Spanish Empire. And the Teutonic Order campaign for the ever-changing political climate in Germany and how important the role of religion is in our history. This expansion sets the player up perfectly for Empire Total War. The main theme being the collapse of the Spanish Empire that you helped to build in Kingdoms. Same again, the empire you built will rise and it will have fallen again by the time of Napoleon. And Napoleon is where the story ends. At last, we reach a campaign, a single campaign, that involved both the rise and the fall in one tale. Although the chances are you will not collapse in Napoleon, the way Napoleon did, you are still left with a feeling all your actions may have been in vain, as time has shown that all empires someday collapse and the world becomes unrecognisable. The tale Total War set out with the 4-piece series plus expansions was one of life in general. And you start with Shogun 1. Shogun 1 and Medieval 1 introduce you into the world. And then Rome Total War is about you going out into the world. Maybe to build something. Maybe that's a family. Maybe it's a business. Maybe it's a place in the history books. Most people build something. However, throughout your life, you are looking back at Alexander Total War. How come so much was lost? How come so many once massive businesses fail or great names get lost? Where do they go? Barbarian Invasion shows you where they go. and then you are just constantly reminded of the fact that in the end it will all get washed away. Nothing stays forever. All your efforts eventually turn to dust, and your name eventually forgotten. But as all who say this also add, that does not mean you should not build something in life or play Total War. Yes, your campaign will eventually be lost in some way. Either you fail, it breaks, or long after you are gone, the next game will show you that your successors could destroy it perfectly fine on their own. But did you have fun? Of course you did, or you would not play. And Total War teaches us that. And that is also why we come back, campaign after campaign, because we had fun. Despite having to start over, we always come back. There's one final closing story to Total War, and that was in Shogun 2, releasing an entire decade after the first. Shogun 2 represents all that changed in the decade, technologically, personally, for CA as a business. 10 years it had been since Tim Ansel, the original founder, left CA, and despite him leaving, despite him putting the game down, others picked up the crown and the sword and kept on pushing with these campaigns. To Shogun 2 and beyond. What you build may not die immediately after your departure. Future generations can enjoy it also, and although they may destroy and break the foundations of your work, they are meant to. Otherwise, the world will never progress. The Roman emperors messed up by the time of Barbarian invasion, but that does not mean there was not a history in between. And in the end, over 1,000 years later, the world turned out okay, and much better because of it. That is the secret story CA made, showing you that where everything rises, something must fall. No one is immortal, but it does not matter. We have to push and build for future generations, and because we enjoy it. Just a thought I had, hope you enjoyed this video, maybe learnt something or got your own ideas. Who knows? I've been MELKOR, share with anyone you think may be interested. Subscribe for more. Until the next one, goodbye.